So good morning, everybody, and welcome to our practice for July the 27th, 2023. Come to a comfortable seated position towards the front of your chair and find your seated mountain pose. And this morning, let's bring our attention to the breath. And before we start to make changes to the breath, observe how the breath is flowing today. Observe that the belly is moving in and out with each inhale and exhale breath. Creating space in the lower areas of the lungs to allow us full, deep breaths that take advantage of the full area of the lungs. Is the belly moving out with the inhale breath and in with the exhale breath? Are you noticing any engagement of the pelvic floor in the breath? Now let's begin to deepen the breath. Consciously filling the lungs and expanding the lower ribs as we inhale, and drawing the belly back towards the spine as we exhale. Welcome, Jane, and welcome, Kathy. Now that we have established our connection with the breath, begin to even the flow of the breath between the inhale and the exhale breath. Use your own internal count to even the flow of the breath. Now we've established that connection between the breath and the mind. Let's begin to bring some motion to the rest of the body. So position yourself as close as you feel comfortable towards the front of your chair. And let's build our seated mountain pose up from the feet. So even though the sit bones are carrying most of the weight, they're the main foundation for our seated poses, let's keep the feet actively engaged. Lift all 10 toes on the feet. And establish contact between the base of the big toe and the floor, the base of the little toe and the floor, and the center of the heel. Lift the arch and try and feel a line lifting from the arch all the way up the inner line of the leg. Let's come up now to our seated portion of our pose. Even out the weight, front to back, right to left on the sit bones. And let's bring our attention to the pelvic floor. So bringing the attention to the pelvic floor, establish that connection with the two sit bones and see if you can draw them. It's almost like they're moving slightly together, like the doors of an elevator closing. So close and open. Close and open. Close and open. Now, we're going to look for a similar type of motion front to back. So bring your attention to the pubic bone and to the tailbone. Focusing on the pubic bone and the tailbone, use the muscles of to draw the tailbone and the pubic bone together. So again, now we're doing front to back, drawing in and sort of feeling that slight lift and then releasing. Draw together and lift and release and lift and release. Now we're going to combine the lateral movement of the pelvic floor and the front to back movement of the pelvic floor. So drawing together and together. For 1, 1, 2, 2, and 3. And 3. Let's continue to strengthen the muscles of the leg, those muscles that stabilizes and keep as when we're coming to standing. Place the block in between the feet, and you can play around with different orientations of the blocks. I'm going to try it with the block, the longest dimension between the inner edges of the big toes. So again, now we're going to take the big toes and squeeze them in to the block. And release. Squeeze in. And release. And final time, squeeze in. And release. Let's move that block in between the calves. Again, find the dimension of the block that's most comfortable for you. Let's reach down and place the hands on the outside of the calves, opposite the block. And again, try to find that most muscular area of the calves. And let's squeeze into center. And then release. Squeeze in. And release. And finally squeeze in. And release. Now finally, let's bring the block up between the thighs, about mid-thigh, about mid-distance along the inner thigh. Again, you can play with different dimensions of the block. And once again, I want you to hug the block with the thighs, squeezing in towards center. And release. Squeeze in towards center. And release. And finally, squeeze in. And release. Let's set our block aside. Find your strap. And something we haven't done for a little while is put a loop in our strap. So finding that loop, making the loop with our strap. And just make sure that loop is going to hold let's begin. Stretch the legs out in front. Place the strap around the toe bases. Press the toe bases into the resistance of the strap. And now, see, rotate the feet slightly outward into the resistance of the strap. So now we're strengthening those external rotation muscles of the legs. And release. And let's repeat that once more. Or twice more. And release. And then final time, press out and release. Now, let's make that loop a bit smaller. For those of you using a flexi band, you can just wrap that around as well. Make that a bit tighter. And go back to that same spot on the calves. Where we had the block in here. Now we're placing the strap on the outer edge of the calf muscles. And now we want to take the legs out. So we're looking at the muscles that externally rotate the thigh, pressing them out. And then release. And again, we repeat that pressure twice more. Press out. And release. And final time, press. And release. And then bring that strap now back to about mid-thigh. So again, on the opposite side of the thighs to where we had the block earlier, a few moments earlier. And now again, we're starting to engage some of those glute muscles. So feel the glutes engage as we press the thighs out into the resistance of the belt. And release. And press out. And release. And final time, let's press out. And release. You can slip the belt off, just set it aside, leave the loop in. Stretch the right leg out towards the camera and perhaps shift your body a little bit towards the right side of the chair. Just shift it enough to give you freedom of movement in the right hip. So now, pointing the toes straight up towards the ceiling, draw the toes in towards the shin and drag that leg out open towards the right side. Drag it back to center. Drag it open towards the right. Drag it back for 2. Drag it open for 3. 3. 4. 4. 5. 5. And 6. Leave that leg out towards the right. Find your block, place the block on the left side. You might roll forward to stack the hips and reach the arm out towards the side. Inhale, come back up to center. Draw that leg in, and let's come back into center. And just allow the knees, take the knees slightly wide, and allow the knees to sway in towards the center line of the body. Again, accentuating that inner and outer rotation of the thigh. Now, make sure, or have one of your blocks towards the right side of the chair. Shift left slightly to give more freedom of movement in the left hip. Stretch the foot out towards me. Use the hamstring muscles to press the heel down in towards the floor. Pull the toes in towards the shin while pressing the mound of the big toe out. And if you place the fingertips on the outside of the hip, you can feel the hip moving in the socket as we go out for one and back in for one, out for two, in for two, out for three, in for three, out for four, in for four, out for five, in for five, and out for six. We'll hold out for six. Let the hips stack one on top of the other. So rolling forward to let the hips stack. Lift the arm up overhead. Remember, it's optional. The arm can rest here. Come overhead or reach out over for a chair version of extended side angle. Sweep down and bring the arm up, and let's come back to center. Come back into center, take the legs slightly wider than hip distance, and let the knees sway in on one another. Bring the legs back to hip distance. Have your strap handy in case you're going to need it for the next move. Interlace the fingers and draw the right knee in towards the right shoulder, flexing and pointing the toes and circling the toes in one direction, and then circle in the opposite direction. Release the right ankle onto the left thigh. Again, do that same action of curling the toes in towards the shin. Support the right knee with the right hand and begin to loosen. Again, continue to bring some looseness into the hip joint by just gently rocking it. Remember here not to let the spine round towards the back of the chair, and now press the knee into the hand. Remember, the inner edge of that right foot can be on the inner edge of the left foot. If your range of motion doesn't permit you to get the hip, and release. Let's once again press the knee into the resistance of the hand and release. And final time, press and release. Let's find our strap again. Loop it around the base of the right toes. Get a firm grip on the strap by wrapping it around the wrist. Stretch the strap out, and then turn the outer edge of the foot towards the floor, maneuvering the foot with the strap, and then press the big toe forward, drawing the little toe side back towards the body. So moving that foot side to side. Let's inhale here, draw the shoulders back, and tilt, keeping the back straight and long, tilt forward any amount over that outstretched leg, noticing the stretch in the back of the thigh, in the calf muscles. But keep remembering, going back to that engagement of the pelvic floor that we did earlier in the class, lifting and engaging the pelvic floor and all the core muscles as we lengthen those muscles along the back of the leg. Use the breath to help cue the body on the stretch. Inhale, come back to neutral. And just before we do some of the work, since we've got the strap in hand, let's move over now to the left foot and just use the strap to steer the foot. Big toe moving towards the floor, little toe moving towards the floor. So just moving back and forth. Lengthen the spine, fold over the leg. Inhale, come back to neutral. And let's draw the right leg in, or left leg in. Either use your strap or interlace the fingers in our non-dominant interlace. Draw the right knee in, or left knee in towards the shoulder. Flex and point the toes. Circle in one direction and circle in the opposite direction. Release the left ankle to the right thigh. Gently rock the left knee with the left hand. Remember, foot can be on the edge. Draw the toes in towards the shin. Press the knee into the resistance. And release. Press. And release. And press. And release. Let's come back to center. Take the feet slightly wider than hip distance and let the knees rotate towards the right side and then come through towards the left side. Come back to center, walk the feet back to hip distance. Let's start to move up the body now. So just sitting at the front edge of your chair, again, evening out the weight on the right and left sit bone. And you can even draw the flesh out away from the sit bones by just rocking to the side and reaching under and drawing out. Get a little more firm connection. You can also wrap the hands around the right thigh. And so the inner hand moves down. The outer hand draws up to rotate the thighs inwardly, again, moving over to the left side. And just notice how that perhaps can change your connection just slightly between the chair and the sit bones. Draw the sit bones back so the pelvis tilts forward, and then move so the pelvis tilts back, moving forward and back, forward and back. So starting to bring a little bit of gentle motion into that lumbar spine area. Come back to center. Center the weight right to left, front to back on the sit bones. Trace that line of support up through the pelvis into the keystone of the sacrum, and then all the way up to the base of the skull, vertebrae by vertebrae. Breathing here. So now let's take that warm-up work that we're doing into the spine with some gentle cat-cow moves. Remembering to be a bit gentle on the cat part of the move if you have some bone density issues. So lifting the sternum, drawing the shoulder blades together, and then rounding the back gently towards the back of the chair. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale up for 3. And exhale back for 3. Let's inhale, come to a neutral spine. Let's take the hands beside the body towards the floor. Stack the spine, find our best seated mountain pose, and exhale the right hand towards the floor. Come through center, left hand towards the floor. Through center right for 2, left for 2. Right for 3, left for 3. Right for 4, left for 4. Right for 6, left for 6. And now take the other arm over for 7. 7. Gently windmilling the arms. 8. 8. 9. 9. 10. 10. 11. 11. And 12. And 12. And come back to center. Take the left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Bring the right hand, the wrist of the right hand as close into the sacrum as you can. Lengthen the spine with your inhale breath, and then let the exhale carry you gently into a twist towards the right side. Inhale, come back through center. Right hand goes to the outside of the left thigh. Wrist snuggles up against the sacrum and twist left. Inhale, exhale, come back to center. And let's take one cat-cow breath, inhaling up. Exhale, rounding back. Inhale, come back to neutral. Making sure the spine is stacked evenly, take the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. And once more, forward, up, back, and down. Stretch the arms out towards the side. Bring the arms to cactus. Before we start to bring the elbows together, try and get the fingertips above the elbows. Draw the shoulder blades down the back and bring the elbows to touch in front of the body and open for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Release the arms down. Let's reach the left hand across the body. Lift the left elbow with the right hand. And try and bring the fingertips in between the shoulder blades. And Strengthen the core so the belly doesn't and lower ribs don't pop out as we come here into this pose. Notice the tricep stretch. And release the arms down. Roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Reach the right hand across the body. Lift the elbow. Take the right hand in between the shoulder blades. And draw the right elbow back with the left hand, breathing into this. Take one more breath here. And release. Release the arms down to the side. Take the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Stretch the arms out. Take right over left. Walk the fingertips onto the shoulder blades. Breathe here. And now option to bring the palms together in front of the face in a half eagle pose. Unravel everything, stretch out to the side of the room, and now take the opposite cross of the arms, left over right. You can see if you can inch the fingertips a little bit more onto the shoulder blades. And now, bring the hands together if possible, and breathe here. Release the arms down, take the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Bring the head to center. Inhale. Chin towards right shoulder. Exhale through to the left shoulder. Inhale to center, exhale right. Inhale to center, exhale left. Inhale to center, exhale right. Inhale to center, exhale left. Inhale, just come back to center. Take the chin towards the right shoulder, come down, forward through the center, and up on the left side. Go through center, up on the right. Through center, up on the left. And through center, up on the right. Final time. Through center, up on left. Through center, up on right. And bring the head back to center. Into our seated mountain pose. Let's walk the legs into a gentle V. Again, we're still sitting towards the front of our chair. Bring the arms up to cactus. Draw the shoulder blades back and down and try and get the fingertips directly above the elbows. Twist towards our left side. Bend the right elbow and bring it to the right knee. Stack the shoulders and reach the arm over. Inhale, raise the body back to center. Lift the arms overhead, interlace the fingers. Release the index fingers towards the ceiling, draw the shoulders back and down, and arc towards our right side. Inhale, come back through center, drop the arms back to cactus, twist left, or twist right, twist right, left elbow to left knee, and stretch the right arm up overhead. Breathe here. Inhale, come back up to cactus. Raise the arms overhead. Release the index finger and arc towards the left side. Inhale, come back to center and fold the body into the center of that V formed by the legs, either coming onto the blocks or the floor. Pull the sit bones back with the edge of the chair. Keep the back nice and long. And let's ease into this deep, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Our arms meet overhead. And exhale, release the arms down to the side of the body. Let's walk the feet back into center. And we'll come up to do some standing work. And we'll do our standing work today facing the seat of the chair, but option to face the back of the chair if that's more comfortable for you. And please, at this stage, let's remember to take a drink, rehydrate. So think back to where we started out in our class, establishing that connection between the feet and the floor, and revisit that work, connection between the mound of the big toe, the mound of the little toe, and the center of the heel. Feel gravity drawing the feet down into the floor. Pelvic floor all the way up, creating that strength. Remembering that hugging in that we did towards the center line again with the block between the legs. Duplicate that work to create a strong basic foundation. Let's lift the arms overhead and exhale, forward fold towards the seat of our chair. Bringing the hands to rest on the seat of the chair and bringing a slight bend in the knees to release the strain on the lower back. Breathe here, making that L shape with the body and the chair. Gravity pulling the feet into the floor, muscles lifting away from that force of gravity pulling us down. Go back to that full, deep breathing we established at the start of the class. And continue that breath here. Strengthen the core from the pelvic floor all the way up at the front of the body. An option here to bring the shoulders onto the, or bring the elbows onto the seat of the chair, or just bend the elbows down towards the chair. Lifting the inner line of the legs and breathing here. Let's inhale, come back up. Feet are supporting ourselves, hands gripping the chair to support ourselves. Step the right foot slightly back, step the left foot in. Strengthen the core muscles and then bend both knees gently towards the floor. Inhale, come up, straighten both legs. Exhale, bending. Inhale, straighten both knees. For 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, and 6. Legs back to meet. And you can stretch out here in a chair version of down dog. So bending the knees slightly, rolling the shoulders slightly away from the spine. And now step. We had the left foot in. Now step the right foot in. Again, strengthen those core muscles and bend both knees. Straighten both legs. Bend both knees. Straighten both legs. For 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, and 6. And then step both feet back to meet. And you can either come here, sort of a chair version of table pose, or back feet away and come to a chair version of down dog. Stretching the body out. Slight bend in the knees and strengthening the core all the way from the pelvic floor, all the way up the front of the body. Let's walk the feet once more in towards the chair. This time we're going to step the right shin in to meet the chair. And again, take that left leg now well back. And we can either support ourselves with the chair. And then before we start to move from up onto the thigh, try and straighten that back leg as much. Come up the thigh. And perhaps if one arm onto the chair, step both feet back to meet, and either come to a chair table version or a chair down dog version. Let's step the left foot in. So the left shin meets the chair, come onto the toes of the right foot, and strengthen the core now before we move up onto the thigh and lift one or both arms. Release the hands onto the chair. Step both feet back to meet at the back of the chair and stretch forward. Inhale, walk the feet in towards the chair. Use the next inhale breath to lift the arms up towards the ceiling. The hands meet overhead and draw the hand. Let's take one full round of the breath here. Once again, exhale. Fold forward towards the chair. Back feet slightly away to make an L shape with the body. And let's stretch the right toes out behind us, pointing the toes. The foot can continue to rest on the floor or rise away from the floor. And we can take our left hand to the top of the chair or raise it away for a chair-supported version of Warrior 3. Release the hand, release the foot, and alternately bend the right and left knees just to gently let the hips sway from side to side. Now pour the weight right foot, lift the left toes away, and you can stay here with the toe resting on the floor or raise the right foot and the left arm for again our chair support version of Warrior. And back onto the chair to the floor. Bend alternate knees to sway the hips from side to side. Let's just do a little option to do some strength work here. So open. So the inner edge of the elbow points straight forward. Back the feet away a little bit and exhale. Take the body towards the chair and then inhale, press up. You can continue as you step the feet back. That's going to increase the weight. Bend and straighten. Down dog. Might back up a little further. Forward. Bend. Straighten and back. And then stretch the body out in down dog. Walk the feet in towards the chair. We're going to turn our chair around and finish our standing work with tree pose. Let's come up to tree. Or come up and standing adjacent to our chair. Chair side foot. Lift the outside heel. Open. Bring the heel to the ankle, the calf. Or it varies, as with all, it probably varies from day to day. Come to the inner thigh. Open the arms. Draw the hands back to heart center. Release. Let that out like side leg sway. And let's move to the opposite side. Lift the heel, ankle, calf, or inner thigh. Hands to center, open to tree. Draw back to heart center. Release and sway. And just before we come down onto our chair, as long as you feel stable, just step away from the chair. Give yourself a little bit of room. Make sure we're going to just let the arms sway from side to side. So just make sure you're not going to hit the chair, but just let the arms gently sway. And then just let the body gradually come back to center. Let's come back to seated. Grab a drink. Grab anything you're going to need to be comfortable in final relaxation. Let's come back down onto our chair. So we'll do a little cool down before we come to final relaxation. Let's come to seated towards the front of our chair, again coming back. Find our seated mountain pose. Emphasize that strength of the core and that strength and support that gives you. Inhale here, and let's walk the feet slightly wider than the hip distance and begin by letting those knees sway. Right knee, left, both knees moving towards the left, both knees moving towards the right, left, and right. Come back to center. Take the left hand to the outside of the right thigh and twist towards our right side. And again, you might notice a bit more freedom and freedom of movement and range of motion after we've worked the body, fully warmed up all the joints. Inhale here, exhale, come through center and twist in the opposite direction. Inhale, exhale, come back to center. Let's just do one cat-cow move here. Inhaling, lifting the sternum. Exhale, round towards the back of the chair. Inhale up once more, raise the arms overhead and fold into that V formed by the legs. Let's take 2 more breaths in this deep forward fold. With the next inhale, carry us up. Our hands meet overhead and draw the hands back to heart center. Walk the feet in to hip width. And now we can grab another drink and shift the weight back towards the back of the chair. So now the thighs are supported. The seat is as close as we can get it to the back of the chair. The back of the chair is supporting the spine, but not sort of carrying the, it's more of a, it's taking a supportive role, not carrying the whole weight. Let the breath, observe the breath, and begin to slow the breath right down. The breath still moves deeply into the belly. But we let the breath find its own path rather than a path as directed by the breath or directed by the mind. Associate each of those waves of the breath with a wave of relaxation. And now find peace in the mind. Setting aside, if even momentarily, some of those concerns, just focusing on the breath, focusing inward, allowing the body to completely relax. Allowing the body a chance to integrate the movement that we made during our practice. And cultivate a softness in the body. Letting the body conform to the shape of the chair. And knowing that in this part of our practice, there's no need to establish any particular external shape of the body. It's allowing the body to completely relax. Now begin to reconnect with the body by deepening the breath. Wiggle the fingers and the toes, ankles and wrists. Slip forward to the front of your chair, stack the spine, find seated mountain. Take a deep breath in and sigh out the exhale through the mouth. Let's come back to center. And we haven't done a chair yoga affirmation for a long time, so we've still got a couple of minutes left. So let's do our chair yoga affirmation just before we wrap up our practice. So starting to feel that characteristic of mountainness in the body. Stack the spine. Take a deep breath in. And let's repeat together. I am the mountain. I am stable, strong, and secure. I am the mountain. I am stable, strong, and secure. I am the mountain. I am stable, strong, and secure. Take the arms to the side. Raise the arms overhead. Draw them back to heart center. and thank yourself for making time for this practice today. Thank each other for sharing your practice, and thank you so much for the honor of guiding you through your practice today. Namaste.